Welcome to the second part of our KNX Basic course practice. We continue our practical training with the topics saving data, extending the project by another room, introducing group and central function control, and we will also change the topology by using the app Siemens address via serial ID once more. Saving data. Before we proceed to extend our sample project, we at first want to save our intermediate result. The ETS has got an automatic backup algorithm. Therefore, you normally don't have to worry about data saving during work. Your project data will be safe even in case of a sudden Windows crash. However, we have to save the project intermediate results from time to time to prevent you from a bad surprise, like a hardware defect, for example. It is best to save it on an external data carrier like a USB stick. Therefore, save these two files now. A. The project. Go to the dashboard, select your project and click the export arrow. B. Group address lists, which you can work out further in a calculation program like Excel. See next page. Saving the group address data. Proceed to the group address window. Press group addresses with the right mouse button. After that, in the context menu, select Export Group Addresses. Set the export options as shown in the Export dialog on the right side. Outline conference room and office. Let us look now at the project extension. The new room office with the two lighting channels and one shutter is added. Planning the actuators. Push the front panel buttons for channels E and F at the switching dimming actuator. Look what happens in the room simulation panel. Planning the actuators for solar protection. Again, there is no manual mode on the RL521. On the second solar protection actuator from lesson 1, number 2 device, channel B is used now. Planning the sensors. Push buttons with QMX3.P37. Here we get the new hardware for the office room, the room control unit QMX3P37, which is used for the moment just as a 4-rocker push button, and the push button interface UP220/31, where we will use the input channel A to adopt a standard push button to the KNX bus. This standard push button is designated to control all lights on the floor as central off. Extending the project. We start to extend our project by inserting the room office in the building view as we have learned it in lesson 1. Again, we proceed to enter the required new hardware. At first, the QMX3.P37. Follow the instructions given on this page. Make sure you choose the version 2 application of this device. Adding devices. In the same way, we add the push button interface UP220/31. It has to be entered in the version 3 application. Downloading the individual addresses. Depending on what you have done at the end of lesson 1, for example, complete unloading, you have to assign the individual addresses either only of the 2 new devices or again all previous ones. Remember the method using the Siemens Address by ID app. You might also return to the diagnostics page to ensure that all the individual addresses of your projects exist again. Adjust parameters push buttons T3 and T4. We do the parameter step now again, setting up the two sensor devices according to their tasks. Just copy the settings from the parameters dialog boxes you can see here. The QMX3 shall get the top rocker as a 2-button switch, the next two rockers as 2-button switching and dimming, and the bottom rocker as 2-button solar protection control. The push-button interface's first channel A will be set to A equals input, sending off when contact is closed. Create group addresses. The floor is now expanded by the office. Try to add the new needed group addresses, subgroups, on your own. Pay attention to the main and middle groups and enter sensible descriptions. For example, Office Light Complete Switching. Link the communication objects of the bus devices with the predefined group addresses. Check the parameter settings, change them if required. Planning group addresses. To remember which new functions are required, here all office and central controls are listed as per rocker or button. Planning group addresses of the actuators. After the sensors, we have to look at the actuators. They exist already, so this time we only need not to forget that they also must be included in the extension. Planning group addresses. After having completed the group addresses, link all required communication objects with the corresponding group addresses once more. Attention! The central push button may only be linked to the new group address Lights Complete Floor Switching, and the dimming actuator also has to be linked to it additionally with all its active channels. For comparison, when you proceed to create the new group addresses now, here the new list of all group addresses. Changing the topology. Setting it to a fixed address structure. Sometimes it may be necessary to adapt the topology to specific requirements. For example, if autonomous island systems are to be networked with each other later. We now want to practice this here by adapting the physical addresses of the devices we have used so far, and thus also those of the new devices to be inserted to the Gamma Training Kit default line addresses. The present situation is, at this time, all training kits are operated on the same line 1.1. The new situation will be all addresses are different and they are in area 10. Changing the topology. You will find a label with a line address, for example 10.5, on or at the Gamma Training Kit. On the practice laptop, there is also a wallpaper background picture on which all devices in the Gamma Training Kit with preset individual addresses can be seen. See next page. Now open the topology view, change your existing line 1.1 to 10.x and rename all existing devices to the numbers shown on the wallpaper. If necessary, use the park function, the current address number, in the device properties dialog. Changing the topology, addressing scheme of the Gamma Training Kits. This picture will guide you through the task of re-addressing the projected devices. Adjust topology by serial number. After changing the addresses, apply the app Siemens addresses by ID again. Select the building, enter the serial numbers and press Program all physical addresses. It will also be necessary to change the interface address again. Download application programs. Display all devices. Press Office Building again, because this will list all devices with Ctrl+A. They will all be tagged. With the right mouse button out of the context menu or in the main menu on Download Application Program, you now download all applications at a time. After download, test all functions. If everything works, then you are finished with Worksheet 2. Thanks again and see you at Worksheet 3. Summary of Worksheet 2. You have extended your project by another room. You have entered the first group and central function. Moreover, you have learned how to adjust the topology in a bigger project. See you later in Worksheets 3.